Yes, hello. I'm not seeing anyone. Yes, Shoriful Islam Shaman, how are you? Saif.
Ma'am, myself, Shariful Islam Saif. Yeah, fine. Alhamdulillah, everything is going well. What about you, ma'am?
Yes, I am great. So as far as yesterday, I told everyone that whether you can take this class at this time. So all agreed, isn't it? Saiba, you and others agreed also. So can you just have a
Yes,
knock?
ma'am. I've also noticed that.
Yes. So can you just knock Saiba?
Yeah, I'll try to message.
Yes. Give a message and then
Yeah,
yes, after 5 minutes we will start. Okay.
okay, ma'am.
I think it's better that we finish the class early because winter is coming. 9 to 10 is winter time. Okay. Let's finish it early so that we can
Yes, ma'am.
it would be better for us because
Yeah,
just
sure.
yes, and the semester is very short this time. So just tell her to join in.
Ma'am, I've already messaged Saiba and I tried to call Tuhin as well, but he didn't pick.
Probably Saiba won't be taking classes. Just let's wait for 2 or 3 more minutes, then we will start. Have you seen e-learning?
Okay, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
So tell me more about yourself, your school, college, and your ambition in life, and your life at our university.
Okay, ma'am. So basically, I've done my childhood school classes from Uttara High School and College, and I've done my SSC from Holy Child School and College, and I've completed my higher secondary level, meaning HSC, from Milestone College. So after that, I went to the Philippines for my commercial pilot training. So yeah, right now I'm a licensed commercial pilot. So
That's
uh,
great.
Undergraduation was not mandatory for me, but since my pre-planned that I always wanted to do a bachelor degree as well, uh, and say, in aviation sector, English is also a very important thing, as we can realize. So after that, in 2022, I enrolled in World University. So that's why I'm taking the online class. So there I'm going through. That's it.
So where are you now?
So right now I'm in Dhaka, but most of the time I do travel a lot for some workshops and some even traveling as well. So far I've already traveled more than 14 countries.
Wow, that's great. So now I will give you, let's talk about the syllabus. So in the e-learning, you have seen that it is 17th century prose and drama. And also you are connected also in our group, isn't it? So you have seen some notes on
Yes,
Francis
ma'am.
Bacon.
Mm, didn't check really,
Just check
but
the
I'll
WhatsApp.
go through.
Yes, just check the WhatsApp.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Yeah, there are some links.
We actually discussing from our WhatsApp group.
Okay, ma'am. Yeah, there are some study materials like summary and analysis.
Yes. So you just have to go through of a study in for the next class. Okay. So now I will give you something from e-learning. So always check your WhatsApp because all the notes which will help you, especially in your exam, all these are given in the WhatsApp group. Okay, the best notes. And also, do you know when is our exam,
Okay,
final
ma'am.
exam? Any idea? You have any idea or clue?
Uh, Not sure about this semester since I've noticed that this is going to be a shorter semester. So no idea about when is our final exam going to held.
You will be finishing just by, I think, in the first week of December, you will have your final.
Okay, okay,
So it's a very short semester, 8 weeks only.
okay.
That
8 weeks.
will be very easy, very quickly.
Okay, ma'am.
Okay. So now we will go to our e-learning, where from where you will be actually studying today.
So, ma'am, our course outline will be unreliable in this semester since there is mentioned that we have 12 weeks.
Only 8 weeks. So yes, it will be okay. Today you will be
Okay, ma'am.
reading about Sir Francis Bacon. It will be short and it will be easier. Okay.
Okay, ma'am.
Can you see it? Screen? Can you see, hear the or see the screen?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So now I will share it with you the Sir Francis Bacon biography, okay? And today's class it would
All
be
right,
about
ma'am.
him, and then in the next class we will discuss about all the other elements, okay? In the last class we discussed about the features of features and history of of 17th century prose and drama. So you can listen to that lecture from our e-learning, okay? Week 1. Understood?
Yes, ma'am.
So I would suggest that you look at and you listen to the last class lecture, and today is the second one. So Sir Francis Bacon. দেখা যাচ্ছে, শোনা যাচ্ছে?
Francis Bacon was one of the pioneers of modern scientific
Ma'am, I can see the. Yeah, it's clear now.
Francis was born in London and studied at Cambridge University before he became a Member of Parliament in 1584. After James I came to power, Francis was knighted and appointed as the Keeper of the Great Seal, an important symbol of the monarchy in England. Bacon was a keen scientist and challenged the Aristotelian methodology that debate and argument by learned men was the only way to discover scientific truth. Bacon believed that in determining scientific truth, scientists required evidence from the real world. His book, The Novum Organum, gave information on the correct methods of acquiring knowledge through the medium of empirical evidence. Bacon's political roles continued, and he was appointed Lord Chancellor, the most powerful political position in England at the time, and after this was made Viscount St Albans. His political career finished after he admitted accepting bribes, and he was fined, imprisoned, and banished from the court, as well as from Parliament. He was later pardoned by the king, but retired to his home in Hertfordshire, where he continued his scientific writing until he died of pneumonia, contracted while studying the effects of snow on preserving meat.
Let's share more so that it becomes easier for you. Of studies is our first one, okay? Our first essay of Francis Bacon.
Okay, ma'am.
Hello everyone, how are you? Hope you are well by the grace of Almighty. Welcome to lecture number 2. This is Junaid Shukal with you, and today I am going to talk about the analysis of Francis Bacon's essay named Of Studies. This is a famous essay written by the English essayist, famous essayist, I would say, Francis Bacon. This essay includes various topics in its course. I would like to generalize some important issues throughout the lecture. The first thing, this is a central humanity. Education is growing how and when to apply. But one has learned.
This sound is not good. Let's look at something else.
I have 12 emails, 30 messages.
I'm in the same boat.
I'm in an apple, but
Essays by Francis Bacon. Of Studies by Francis Bacon. Summary, analysis, and important quotations. Hello and welcome to the discourse.
Yes, Shariful, can you listen to this? শুনতে পাচ্ছেন?
Yes, ma'am.
This is very easy, that's why I am giving, okay?
Okay, ma'am.
Yes, it will help you.
So let us first begin with the book Essays, Religious Meditations, Places of Persuasion and Dissuasion, Seen and Allowed. It was published in 1597, and it was the first published book by Bacon, which contained 10 essays on varied topics. The topics ranged from private life to public issues. In each of the essays, Bacon offered contemplation from different viewpoints, arguing against each other, while giving reasons why and what is the correct viewpoint, covering the topic in fullness. It was the first edition which was repeated in 1612, and the second edition contained 38 essays. In 1625, Francis Bacon published the third edition of his essays by the title Essays or Counsels, Civil and Moral. The third edition contained 58 essays in total. Francis Bacon is known as the father of the English essay. Let us begin with one of the most important essays, which is titled Of Studies. It was one of the first 10 essays by Bacon, published in 1597. Of Studies by Francis Bacon, Summary and Analysis. The theme of this essay by Francis Bacon is the importance and benefits of studies in an individual's daily life. Often people suggest that instead of giving alms to a poor kid, it is better to help them in attaining proper studies so that they can improve their own abilities and make an honest, honorable living. That is, rather than catching a fish and giving it to someone as charity, it is better to teach him how he can catch his own fish. Let us discuss the summary now. For Bacon, study is always related to application of the gathered knowledge through the studies in practical life. Francis Bacon begins with discussing the three major purposes of study. Bacon says that there are three important purposes of study: studying for gaining delight, for ornamenting one's life, and to improve one's ability. One can study some comic book for entertainment with no other practical purpose. Some people study not for making good use of the knowledge that they may attain through their studies, but for the purpose of showcasing their studies as a standard or ornament. They showcase their knowledge, how much they have studied, and get delight in that. The third kind of student or people who study are those who study to improve their ability. Francis Bacon then compares a wise, experienced man with a learned man who studies a lot and suggests that an expert man with worldly experience can carry out plans and judge a particular circumstance. However, those who study are better than such a worldly man in understanding important matters, giving advice, and knowing how to deal with daily affairs in an optimal manner. So, according to Bacon, only a learned man can manage daily affairs and issues expertly in an optimal manner to lead a healthy and stable life. Bacon then proceeds with the advice that one should avoid excessive reading and suggests that too much studying leads to laziness. One should also avoid showing how much he read too much, as it leads to affectation and he starts showing off what he has read to impress others, rather than making any good use of his studies. He suggests that too much reading can be addictive. Too much reading books may diminish the line between book and reality and may lead the reader away from the real world, and that can be harmful. Here Bacon suggests that studying not only includes reading books, rather it also includes reading nature, surroundings, and real circumstances. Bacon says that the act of judging a particular situation based on theoretical knowledge alone, without applying the practical learning from the real world, is not correct. Bacon suggests
that there must be an equilibrium between book reading and practical learning. Here, one may remember what Ralph Waldo Emerson suggested about bookworms in his essay, The American Scholar, that we discussed a few days ago. Francis Bacon stresses on the value of practical knowledge. Bacon says that studies are useful only when our bookish knowledge is supplemented with the practical experiences. Because while the natural abilities of a person are like a plant, nurtured and enhanced by studies that act as a fertilizer, but without practical experience, studies lead to confusion in dealing with the outside world. Therefore, for Bacon, the study is always fruitful when it is applied in practical life. He further says that a wise man is always willing to implement all the knowledge he gained through books into practical life to experiment and decide whether the knowledge he got from a book is practical or not. Bacon again discusses the real purpose of reading and suggests that one should not read only to sharpen his arguments to defeat his opponent or to show off their ability in reasoning. One should also not read because they believe that reading always leads to correct behavior or understanding, because it may not be true. Lastly, Bacon says that one should not read merely to attain ability to deliver an impressive speech in conversation with others to impress them. Instead, Bacon suggests that the real purpose of reading and that of studying should be to sharpen our faculty, understanding, and judgment to improve our abilities. Bacon then delves on how to read different books and says that some books are meant only to be tasted. Books for entertainment, like fictional books, are meant only to be read lightly, and one should avoid delving in fiction too much, as it would lead to confusion between real life and fiction. Some other books are meant to be shallow, books full of philosophical knowledge, needs to be read carefully and wholly. Theoretical books should be read not with curiosity, but with purpose of memorizing them, so that one may use the knowledge gathered for practical purposes. He further says that some books are meant to be chewed and digested properly. One should read scientific books with great diligence and attention to understand it perfectly and to extract permanent benefits out of it. Also, even some fictional or philosophical book can be so good that it may become necessary to read it thoroughly and with great diligence to extract the real use of that book and attain benefits from it. It is up to the individual to decide for what purpose he is going to read a book, what kind of book he is going to read, and then apply the proper way of reading that book. Bacon again suggests that studying is not only reading. He says that reading makes a full man, conference leads to a ready man, and while writing makes an exact man. What Bacon means is that reading makes us analytically better being, but when we use the knowledge gathered in our discussions and conferences, it helps in improving our intelligence and sharpen our intellect. But when we begin writing based on the knowledge gained through our studies of books and practical life, then we become the exact man, as it improves our memory and makes us sharp witted. It should be noted that speaking about a subject doesn't allow us enough time to contemplate before speaking, and it may lead to wrong expression and or statement. However, when we write, we express our refined and exact opinions and feelings after proper contemplation, and hence we reduce the chance of making any silly mistake in expressions. Thus, writing exacts us. Samuel Johnson also mentioned and supported the same distinction between reading, writing, and conversation in his own essay on studies, which he wrote in 1753. The central theme of Samuel Johnson's essay is, in fact, this point of Bacon, and he gives reference of Bacon, saying, "It is observed by Bacon that reading makes a full man, conversation a ready man, and writing an exact man." Bacon also says that reading a complementary book or reference guide for the main book can be a better option, but not in case of important books. Also, reading a summary or reference book is often tasteless. At the end, Bacon suggests that one should not confine themselves in a narrow stream of particular subject of books. Rather, they should read all kinds of books, as histories make men wise, poets witty, the mathematics subtle, natural philosophy deep, moral grave, logic and rhetoric able to contend. Bacon says that there can be no problem of mind of an individual which cannot be solved through studying, as studying is the solution to all the problems a person may face. Now let us see some important quotations from of studies. The first one is studies serve delight for ornament and for ability. In this quote, Bacon is mentioning the uses of the purposes of study. We have already discussed this. To spend too much time for study is sloth. To use it too much for ornament is affectation. We have also explained this quote in the summary. The third quote is, crafty men contempt studies, simple men admire them, and wise men use them. Bacon is saying that cunning men often criticize studying as they don't want others to get benefits of studying. Simple people, on the other hand, love studying. However, a wise man is that who not only studies but also make better use of his studies by improving his ability. The fourth quote of Bacon from the essay of studies is, read not to contradict and confuse, nor to believe and take for granted, nor to find, talk and discourse, but to weigh and consider. We have already clarified this quote in the summary. The fifth quote is, some books are to be tasted, others to be swallowed, and some few to be chewed and digested. The sixth quote is, reading makes a full man, conference a ready man, and writing an exact man. Samuel Johnson used this quote from Bacon's essay in his own essay on studies, which was published in 1753. Seventh quote is, distilled books are like common distilled water. In this remark, Bacon suggests that while it may be beneficial to read complementary books or summaries or reference books of the main book, but reading a summary or distilled book is tasteless and insipid. Eighth quote is, histories make man wise, poets witty, the mathematics subtle, natural philosophy deep, moral grave, logic and rhetoric able to contend. Bacon suggests that one should read all kinds of books, as different kinds of books helps a person to improve different abilities. So this is all about Bacon's of study. Students preparing for UGC NET English Literature and Great English Literature should keep all the 8 quotes in mind and should remember that these are from Francis Bacon's essay of study. We will come again with another essay of Bacon. Please stay with the discourse. Thanks and regards.
Yes, Shariful Islam, are you here?
Yes, ma'am.
Of marriage and singing.
Of marriage, this would be the next class.
Okay, ma'am. Is this also a essay of Francis Bacon?
Yes, we have 5 essays for our midterm. I think the picture is already in the WhatsApp group. You can just look at it. The syllabus is completely properly
Okay,
given
ma'am.
in the
But
WhatsApp.
as far I've noticed from this video, also the previous one, I've noticed like I think he wrote the essay. It has 3 parts. Is it of studies or including other essays? 3 parts. Like which one took at
About a book.
least 13 years to write him, or I mean publish this
No.
essay?
No, we are just dealing with office studies. He had written
Okay.
a lot of essays, okay? Office studies is one essay, and we will actually focus on office studies and other 4 essays, okay?
Okay, ma'am.
This would be on office studies. Now we'll have only a look at this. It will make it more simplified. And then I have already taken your attendance. At 7 p.m. we would be ending, okay?
Welcome to a brand new session of easy and simple explanations of important prose works. Today's essay for discussion is Francis Bacon's Of Studies. Francis Bacon, the father of English essays, is the first Viscount of St. Alban, also known as Lord Verulam, was an outstanding thinker of the Renaissance period. He was an English philosopher and statesman who served as Attorney General and as Lord Chancellor of England. Alexander Pope described Bacon as the wisest, brightest, and meanest of mankind. Bacon has been called the father of empiricism. He is a master of the aphoristic style. His style may also be called epigrammatic. Advancement of Learning, Novum Organum, New Atlantis, Essays are the principal works that assured him a permanent place among English philosophers. Of Studies is taken from his work Essays. Francis Bacon begins his essay discussing the three main purposes of studies. Reading for pleasure allows one to develop an appreciation for great writing. Reading for ornament allows one to think and speak with great clarity. Reading for business allows one to rise high in his or her profession. Bacon next addresses problems with three categories. Spending too much time studying leads to lack of productivity. Needless display of learning makes you sound like an empty vessel. Eccentric scholars blindly follow rules and principles. This spoils their inherent talent and judgmental power. Bacon understands that studies should always go hand in hand with experience. He uses a simile in this line. Just like plants are pruned or trimmed in a garden, studies also should be directed by experience. Bacon goes on to talk about the different attitudes that different people have towards study. By crafty men, Bacon means practical men. Such men lack the necessary foresight to realize the value of studies, whereas simple men merely admire studies and those whom they perceive to be intelligent. Wise men put what they read into practice. The value of studies is in their utility. Next, Bacon gives advice on how to read. We should critically read and consider every work that we read. He also categorizes books into three. The books that are to be tasted are to be read only in parts. That which are to be swallowed are the ones that can be read, but not curiously. The books that are to be chewed and digested are the ones that are to be read wholly and with diligence and attention. Bacon uses a simile again. The study of books by means of notes, summary, and analysis is tasteless like the distilled water. It lacks the real charm. Bacon moves on to state the different modes of studying. Reading enriches a man's mind. Discussions make him quick-witted, and note-making makes him an exact man. Bacon states how different disciplines influence students in different ways. History makes a man wise. Poetry makes him imaginative. Mathematics makes him sharp. Natural philosophy makes him profound, whereas moral philosophy makes him attain seriousness. Logic and rhetoric help him increase his power of reasoning and argument. This Latin expression is quoted from Ovid. Studies mold our character in a perfect way. It surely changes our attitude upon everything. Bacon concludes his essay by stating how studies of different subjects can cure one of mental incapacities. Just like certain exercises are good for specific parts of our body, Certain subjects help us in sharpening our mental abilities. Mathematics is good for making us concentrate. Study of philosophy is good for confusion of thought because philosophy helps us to dissect matters. Whereas law is good for training our memory. Take note of these points and remember Bacon's off studies any day. See you again next Tuesday with an
So Shariful, just go through this. I will be giving the live class session also in e-learning, and হোয়াটসঅ্যাপে যা দেয়া আছে সেটা একটু দেখে নেবেন, ঠিক আছে?
ওকে ম্যাম।
নেক্সট ক্লাসে আমরা বেকনের বাকিগুলো পড়ে ফেলবো এবং সাথে হোয়াট কাইন্ড অফ কোয়েশ্চেন্স আর গোইং টু কাম সেটা নিয়েও ডিসকাস করে ফেলবো। আর
Okay,
এখন
ma'am.
অলরেডি ফোরাম দেওয়া হয়ে গেছে, ফোরামগুলো করে ফেলেন,
আচ্ছা ম্যাম, ওকে,
ঠিক আছে?
থ্যাংক ইউ ম্যাম।
ওকে,
আসসালামু আলাইকুম।
ওকে, ওয়ালাইকুম আসসালাম, খুদা হাফেজ।